Hey everyone, welcome to the Tellor Core Chat, August 25th, 2020. Um, yeah, it's been an exciting week. It's been, obviously the thing on a lot of people's mind. The price, it's still looking great. Not as quite as exciting as the giant run up we had before last week's call, but you guys are doing great. I know that's why a lot of people comment on the videos, but um, let's talk about the really big news, which is V2 coming out. The audit is done, so we passed. So you guys can celebrate however you normally celebrate audits being completed. Um, yes, uh,
Lots of whiskey.
lots of whiskey. Yeah, so we'll be publishing the audit for you guys to review. So I think Certic, they're still just cleaning it up, making it more presentable. Um,
Yeah, well, Certic's going to do their own PR. They have their own process for these things, which is really great for us. So they get to do client spotlight on us, and basically it's a article talking about who they are, who we are, how the audit went, what they did, what they liked about it, and they'll push that out. We'll share it, and that's good because Certic has a lot of followers that may have not heard about Tellor yet. Um, and so some good free marketing that goes with working with a company like Certic. So
yep.
that should be any day now. I'm just waiting on them to tweet it. So
Yeah, cool. So we did, once we got that back, we did the pull request into the master branch. So if you guys go to the Tellor core repo, current master branch is up to date with the one we'll be deploying for V2. Have a look if you're into that thing. And somebody just asked what's the name of the audit company. And so it's Certic, Certik. So Certic, some pronounce. Um, so yeah, that's what we'll be doing. For kind of the schedule, so we'll just have as much transparency around this as we possibly can. So we'll be pushing to rinkeby sometime on Wednesday. So I'm going to coordinate with our rinkeby miner, who's on the call. So we have to talk. He's one of the guys who is running a lot of rinkeby miners for us. So we'll make sure that he's good to go and we can debug if anything happens. So we'll be pushing that upgrading on the rinkeby network, and then we'll give it probably 2 weeks. Like I said, it's not an exact time. We'll give an exact time, but if you guys are struggling, if you're a miner or a user and you're concerned, and it's definitely flexible. So we'll give a time in 2 weeks, which likely we will push to master. And if you're a user or just a Tellor token holder, there's no need for a migration. There's no updates that are needed to anything that you're doing. It should be completely seamless. The miners might just have to download a file or two. And even the miners, it's not like previous upgrades. You're not going to get slashed if you don't do it. You just won't be able to win rewards until you do it. So let's make sure we don't have any hiccups there. But yeah, we've been really working with a lot of the miners, and hopefully we're going to have some nice clean code and a clean upgrade, and it's going to be really, really boring. And then, yeah, so other things that we'll kind of do after that. So we're looking forward to this. We have some exciting new people who are starting to build on us, which is really exciting. We're making some integrations. And then, probably a few weeks after the V2 one, as promised, we're going to throw away the admin key, which we're going to have a nice big party for. So that'll be fun. And then everything will just be kind of in the DAO and the governance voting. So we're excited to do that as well. And Marky Mark just asked a question. So you talked about the win per hour per miner. So we decided kind of in conjunction with some of the other miners and just talking to people who you guys just aren't ready for it. The original plan was to say every miner can only win once an hour, but that seemed to be too extreme. So we hope to slowly get there. But we're just making it the miners can win once every 15 minutes, so once every 3 blocks, and then we can choose to raise it in subsequent upgrades. So yes, right now it's once every 15 minutes, so once every 3 blocks. We actually just published on Discord, and I can pass that. We'll put that in the show notes and post it on the. I can even put in the Zoom chat and things like that. A document for like all the final V2 numbers. So I know there were some things in the proposed V2 upgrades that may not have been finalized. So it would have said like, hey, we're planning on doing this. But now this is the official document. This is what we're doing. If you don't want to dig through the code to see it yourself. So have a look at that. And then we'll post like a final, we're going to have like a big announcement Medium article and things like that when V2 actually goes live. But if you're like one of the miners or just really interested in seeing what's going on before it actually happens, you can do that. So yeah, that's kind of the roadmap for a while. It will definitely keep us busy over the next month. Also, if you guys saw, I gave a speech. When was that? On Sunday night. So it was on inflationary rewards. It's very similar to the tech talk that I gave. A little bit different, but if you guys didn't either catch the tech talk or that, definitely go and do that. So yeah, that's kind of it, I think, in terms of events. Other things. Mike, anything?
Well, I was sort of struggling whether or not to mention the linear finance tweet, but I think we should. There's no reason not to really share about it, other than the fact that, as you guys know, we like to be as conservative as possible with these things, and this is a bit of a sort of it's an announcement that they're going to work with us to implement them. So they haven't implemented us yet, but we've had the initial discussions. It seems like it'll be a good fit, and we're going to start digging into the nuts and bolts and helping them make that happen. It's on them whether or not they do what they're going to do, and that's their project. And so that is one reason why we don't want to say linear is using Tellor until they actually are using Tellor, because we don't know how much time they're going to need to do that. We don't know if they'll disappear. And then that puts, we feel that puts you guys at risk, because you're going to be taking all that information and making decisions based on it. So we want to make sure that you guys have the most tangible, rock solid information to make your decisions on whatever they are, So, but I know that sounds negative. It's just meant to be neutral. Like, we feel neutral about it. We had a great conversation with them. I think that they're making a good decision. They were attracted to our Oracle for all the right reasons. And so we felt comfortable enough to do the retweets and share that out. But, I guess I don't really have a huge point to hit on here, other than I wanted to mention that, and because I know a lot of people are going to be reading into what we do and don't do, and what we say and don't say. So I hope that makes sense. I think if you guys have been on these calls for a while, you kind of get our perspective on it. But so just, I guess, keep an eye out on that, and keep an eye out on other future things. But no, when we make an announcement, it'll be for real. So a lot of exciting stuff coming in the next few weeks with V2 and things we're working with other projects on. So stay tuned. That's all I can say.
And also, we're going to start hiring here. I know a few weeks ago we had JG on. JG, he's doing awesome. Great hire so far. I know he's on the call, so other things, but we're still looking for more people. So if you're kind of anywhere in the stack, so whether you're a front-end developer, back-end developer, business development, the kind of people that we're looking for, ideally you're really good at something, and you like to learn, you love decentralization, you fit with the team, you fit with the philosophy of what we're trying to build, and you're willing to kind of grow and learn. So if you guys know anybody that fits those bills, just let us know. We're open right now. If they are a developer, we use React for front end stuff, Golang for the miner, and obviously Solidity. So anywhere along those lines, and if you're willing to learn and you're willing to, help us grow and move forward as a company, we'd love to talk to you and get you on board. So,
Yep.
if you know anyone, let us know. Because
and on the biz dev side, if you know, if any of you guys or know anybody that has developer relations experience or customer service experience, but also is a fan and knows a good bit about Tellor, that's a good match just for that. Just somebody that has that kind of experience, but understands who we are, what we do, how it fits into DeFi. And those are the basic requirements for that. And if they fit the bill, like what he was saying, if we like them and work well with them, then it should be a match.
If you want to come on a company where we're gonna always move really fast and build awesome things. Yeah. So it's an exciting opportunity for sure. I'm excited to be here. Anyway, I think that's it for the announcements. We'll definitely keep you guys up to date on things. But Mike, would you like to jump into the questions?
Yeah. Just finding them again. So many tabs. I have a tab problem. Okay. First question is, hi guys, business development updates. Any exciting or interesting news, snippets, or general reasons to be cheerful? I think we went over everything that we'd like to in that regard. We're super cheerful about the audit and about V2 and about the stability of our price and where it is and all that stuff. So we're in a good space. We're hiring, we're growing. It's exciting times for Tellor, for sure. So thank you. Next question is, how much would it cost to perform a 51% attack on Tellor with the current valuations? Is it still possible with the proof of stake, proof of work hybrid model?
Yeah, it's a different kind of cost to break. I'm working on a draft Tellor Security 201 article, which will go over kind of the cost to censor or break the Tellor network. But yeah, so kind of the base cost to assuming fast disputes, the cheapest way to break us for a given upcoming.
Say an hour.
Well, so it's like five. If you go at the 5-minute blocks, it's 3 stakes because you need the 3 medians. So it'd be 3,000 times the price of the token, which even say it's $40. That's like 120,000 to break for 5 minutes. So you multiply that by 12 to get to an hour.
Yep.
You're looking at like $1.5 million. So yeah, very, very expensive. Not going to be an issue.
Yeah. 1.4 million for an hour just to bless you. Yeah, hope you did the chicken wing. So it's the cost of break just for an hour, and if your protocol is using a delay on their Oracle prices, like an hour delay, you can imagine then that is all, then you're sort of immune to that sort of attack.
Yeah. So
if you just put a delay in it, so it's expensive and futile to do it unless you, I don't know what it would take for you to make it worthwhile, but it'd have to be a pretty big attack. Next question, are there any plans? Oh, by the way, we don't use the language proof of stake, proof of work hybrid model anymore. We just go with staked proof of work. So just a little
is that the official, Mike?
Well, it's been forever since we said we were a hybrid model because it confused people. That was like a year ago. Even someone asked a question about a tweet from Chainlink God, and he talks about
our
hybrid stake model.
Yes.
I'm just like, he obviously hasn't paid attention. I'll just go into that. So there was a tweet that said, someone said, can we address their tweet? I want to just say no, but I think we can. Why not? He says, Chainlink God says, Tellor has 0 in production usage, a handful of miners, don't allow you to choose your own nodes.
can only use low quality free open APIs and combine the worst properties of proof of stake and proof of work. So I guess you want us to comment on that. And
so I'd say we actually do have some that are live in production now. Whenever they want to come out and talk about it, they're more than welcome to. And then, yeah, I mean, the choosing your nodes, like that's actually, you don't want to be able to choose your nodes. You don't get to choose which Bitcoin miner mines your block. No, it's a competition. It's supposed to be open to everyone. That's how it works.
Yeah. I mean, even if you want to be as sort of, I don't know. I agree with you, Nick. But even if you wanted to just be like, let's say everything is even, it's not. It's just potatoes, I guess. It's just what you prefer. And yeah, I mean, when he says low quality free open APIs, that just means some sort of trusted API that is another point of failure. And we're moving away from that. We're trying to do the polar opposite of that, and more power to having high quality data companies that provide, privatized high quality data, whatever you want to say about it. We want to go to where, it's a more, I don't know how you want to say it. It's a more of a vague source of data. It's like a decentralized collective source of data where there is no one true source. It's that network and those aligned incentives that produce a piece of data that has all those crypto qualities that the centralized world can't recreate whatever that is. It's almost hard to articulate what it is, but we think that is quality.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing, it's like different goals almost. It's almost it's similar to like Visa, like ripping on Bitcoin for not having so many transactions, or having limiting it's like
no, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, like it's fair. Like it's completely fair, like, but yeah, the point. you're not going with what we're doing. So anyway, yeah.
Enough about that.
Yeah, like all things in crypto land, just try and ignore the prices and Twitter, and you'll be much better off.
Also, kudos to you guys out there, because there's some great responses to this. You guys are getting smart, and I'm proud of all of you. I remember the first time Chainlink God tweeted anything about Tellor, and it was like before we even launched. I saved the image. He made something that I thought was so funny. It was the first time we tweeted anything, and we were still in Binance Labs. Hadn't even finished building it yet, but he called us decentralized Fruit Loops or something, with like the little toucan Sam from the cereal Fruit Loops. And I don't know. That was the first I ever heard of who this Chainlink God person was. And of course, no one, we didn't even respond to it. But it's nice to see now that, like, he's talking about us, and you guys are backing us up.
So. Yeah, it's actually Brenda's account. She just poses on the side.
Yeah,
it's a big shell game we're doing, guys.
Okay. At what level of distribution would you switch to proof of stake? What distribution metrics would you be looking at to give that go ahead? Yeah. What is our current thinking about moving to proof of stake, if ever and when?
Yeah, I mean, we'll just kind of see how proof of work continues to go. It might be down the road a little bit, and it's definitely one of those pieces where we'd want to do a lot of research on. It's still really early. Whenever you're talking about proof of stake, I would not, especially with all of these DeFi protocols, it actually worries me a whole lot more now, because stakes are so fluid. You have people staking a whole bunch of money in a protocol, and then 2 days later, it's all gone out of that protocol. With proof of work, it tends to be a little bit more stable, at least in terms of forcing people to lock up. And I mean, we could always force people to lock up with the stake amounts. So, that's definitely something that makes me worried. And I think, one of the big reasons we'd want to sort of move to proof of stake would be, you would hope that then instead of having kind of centralized mining pools, you have a more distributed group of data validators who are running Tellor nodes. This isn't a problem with just Tellor. This is a problem that everyone in the space is trying to solve, because part of the problem that you're seeing with proof of stake is that now you just have giant staking pools, kind of centralized staking pools that are running everyone's staked nodes. And if the trend kind of continues, it sort of ruins the whole point of going to proof of stake in the first place. Like even with Ethereum, like some people, are running these beacon nodes and different proof of stake pieces, but if you actually have to run a full node and the staked node, I don't know the specifics about how much that'll take. It's a lot of, running a full node on Ethereum is not an easy task. So will people actually do it, or will they just sort of go stake with one of these big services, at which point it sort of ruins the whole point of staking? You might as well just be like, I know there's some speed increases, but for us, it's mainly about the decentralization that we want to work on. So anyway, yeah, a lot more research that needs to be done. But open to moving, open to trying out on different chains. Yeah.
How did you find/connect with JG?
That was
through Discord, right? The Eath Hackers Discord.
JG, how did you hear about us?
Yeah, remind us.
I'm sorry, my noise. There's some construction going on, but I think I was on Discord indeed. Yeah, the Hack Global Discord.
Hack Global. Yeah, we posted this job. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll be posting another. Make sure you guys go to hackathons. That's how JG found a job.
Yeah.
Thanks, JG.
Welcome.
Yeah, if you guys are interested in looking for work, or wish you were a candidate at the time, or for another project, join that Discord. They have a whole jobs channel, and it seems it's relatively active. So if you're looking for jobs in the space, take it from JG. This was a place to be. I think it's called, is it Eath? Does Eath Global run it? I know it's called Ethereum Hackers, but I don't know who runs it. I think it's Eath Global that does it.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because it's Eath Global. Okay. Anyway, next question. Do you see any other crypto trends coming down the pipe besides DeFi or, these ETH killer chains?
Not necessarily.
Maybe getting back to money, getting back to currency.
Yeah.
Spendable money.
Yeah, I would love to see, I know it kind of goes in waves. I think it's been a while since we've had like a privacy coin wave, like a really big privacy push in the space. Usually the regulators usually lag by like a year. So I think once the regulators start, so like what's going to happen with DeFi is it'll, in my mind, it's just slow. It's going to happen like the ICO boom. So you had, first it was good companies doing ICOs and they started raising good amounts of money. And then it was good companies that were raising ridiculous amounts of money. And then it just became bad projects raising money. And almost all of them just turned into bad projects. And then the regulators had to get on board. And I think you're starting to see that happen with DeFi, where at first it was good projects and then good projects got really overvalued. And now we're going to start moving into people who are just jumping on the bandwagon. So they're trying to get into DeFi and they're going to start these awful protocols and they're going to lose a whole bunch of people money and it's going to get the regulators going again. And then the regulators will probably ban some form of DeFi and similar like the ICO craze. And then we'll have to actually build censorship resistant technologies and things with privacy, which is going to be awesome for us. So yeah, that's kind of my prediction for 2021, and we'll see how it goes.
A good one.
Yeah.
I Another one about JG. I don't know if this will be awkward to talk about in front of you, JG, but why did you decide to hire JG? What was it about him?
I think we decided as a team it was the mustache.
Just the mustache.
And then I think that's what everyone on Telegram had decided. No,
Yeah, we were charmed by the mustache. It was like hypnotic. He could have said anything. We would have been like, you're hired. But
no, it's not real difficult. I mean, if you're somebody that seems cool to work with, that's very approachable and wants to actually do work and has a resume that shows you can do work, it makes it for a really good hire. It's not tough.
Yeah, because it's not always the resume, because you can hide a lot of things in a resume, and a resume is just
you're looking for red flags more so than anything else in a resume. Giant gaps or people who won't return your phone calls whenever you are looking for a reference or something like that, and then it's just you talk to them, figure out how much they actually know. Once you understand that they know what they do, you figure out whether or not you like them and think you can work with them.
And we also like to figure out what their motives are, like what their plans for themselves are, because we don't want to get in the way of where they'd like to go. And we'd hope to find somebody where, for at least this time period, our paths can be in alignment, and it's a win-win for both parties. And we felt that with JG, and that's important to us. We don't want to be conflicting with their personal goals. Okay, so that's it. Does it feel weird seeing TRB go up in value? Yeah, I mean, weird is a weird way to put it. But I get, yes, I guess it's really cool. It's it's much farther than we thought it would be at this point. It's nice. It quickly becomes the new norm. Like you have, and also we don't like sort of accept it as something that's going to be here forever. So it's weird how you relate to it. Like we see that we have some extra resources to do stuff with it. We try to make some decisions to capitalize on it and to make it, to keep it going while we can, because it won't always be here. You never know. So.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, so like whenever we launched, my goal, we were hoping if we could get like up to like an $8 price after a year of launch. So like this August, we would be at an $8 price. It would be like, all right, we can sort of, bootstrap ourselves and make this work. And, it would have been a really cool thing to do. And we're obviously way higher than an $8 price, which is awesome. It's always just, but we could drop back in price down to something really low and we'd have to sort of deal with it. My big fear is always like, it's always nervous whenever it goes up too fast. The fear would be like, let's say we log in tomorrow and it's $200. And then it stays at $200 for 2 days and then drops back down to 10. Like we would have been fine with 10 to begin with, like if a year ago we would have just got up to 10, that would have been awesome. But now you would have this giant price spike and then a drop, and then for everyone, then you have a bunch of token holders who bought at the top that are really underwater, which that kills a community. And then you also have like people come and they look at your chart and they're like, oh, this project must be another one of these IEO dead projects that just dumped at the top and walked away. And like we wouldn't be that, but that's always like whenever you look at charts, it's not what you want. So we want to, I'd much rather have a slow and steady growth than all of these erratic moves. But yeah.
Yep.
That's my fear.
So if you're a long-term holder, slow and steady is your friend here. So, and everything we do is, we can't manipulate the price in any way. We don't have that power, but what we can do is make sure that we don't contribute to any undue price movements. You know what I mean? So we want, like he said, we want it to be slow and steady. It's going to be better. if it ever falls, it'll fall a lot slower if it's like that. So anyway, do you have any events coming up with Eath Global? Yeah, we have plans for some events in the fall with Eath Global. They had to move a couple of events that they had planned, I think, for September. I think that they moved those or consolidated or something like that. So I think they're looking for their next event to be October, November. So I'm just waiting on them. We are, we're in position to participate. So keep an eye out. I'll let you know when I have more information. If Tellor were to reach a market cap of 1 billion, would you sell a large amount of your accumulated TRB stash for Fiat to lock in a good runway, et cetera? Or would you continue to just sell your regular monthly amount as normal?
I'd probably be more inclined to sell a little bit more.
Yeah.
Just kind of keep the runway going. And I think, kind of like, it's one of those things like, when things are unsustainable relative to a market in general. If for whatever reason, let's say, just to throw it out there, like we become as big as Bitcoin. Like we were all of a sudden the number 2 coin, we're above Ethereum, and we're bigger than Bitcoin. I believe in me more than anything in the world, but I would be very concerned that it was a bubble. So, I would want to sort of hedge that. And, even so, like a lot of times we'll do, usually whenever the price spikes up, someone will contact us for an OTC deal or something like that. And we'll be, you guys can look at our multis. We'll sell a little bit more when the price takes a run up, just because, to be honest, I'm hoping we can keep the price more steady. I would rather, like I've said before, I would rather it not shoot up to billions of dollars really fast. I'd rather take a year or 2 to get there and we get real traction and real usage. So
yeah, I think it would not be smart to not
but
capitalize on that value if it came, especially if it was something obviously unsustainable.
But we would not be dumping all of the Tellor. We're still
yes, it doesn't seem like he's asking that question. Yeah. Well, he says a large amount, but if the price is that high, a large amount is really easy to do with less amount of tributes. So, we have to.
It's a balancing game. Yeah. I hope we get to cross that bridge at some point.
Yeah, that'd be a good problem to have.
Yes.
Will high gas fees push the ETH price up?
No.
Yeah, if anything, it would be down, I would suppose. It's a pain in the ass with these gas fees.
Yeah, people are going to be jumping.
You don't even want to transfer.
But I'd say for the most part, ETH price is sort of separate from usage, kind of like most tokens. I know we'd like to think that usage correlates with price, but if you look, like ETH usage has been consistently going up over the past 3 years, and you have little erratic price movements. The correlation is probably just not there. So yeah, I would say it's probably bad long term, just because people are going to move to other chains if Ethereum doesn't get its act together.
Is Yearn Finance cool?
Sure.
Yeah. I don't have an opinion on Yearn. What do you think about Aave's moves to become a real bank, getting their UK e-money license, their fiat on-ramps? There's all this talk about the KYC element of all this. I haven't really formed a strong opinion, but I get this is kind of like a move that is less private, less decentralized.
Well, it's always
at the same time,
right.
Fiat on-ramps are good.
Well, because it's really weird, and I think this is where you have kind of a divergence in what tokens actually mean. So Aave is moving to being a DAO, and at the same time they're moving, if you do anything to get a banking license, like some entity actually holds that banking license, which is not a DAO. The person who actually holds it is some, probably corporate structure. in traditional law. So, you know, this is always one of those things. Like DAOs don't manage things off chain for the most part. It's really, really hard to coordinate that. And usually there's some sort of factor of trust. So, you know, if you're holding an Aave token and think that, you know, like I wouldn't it's always weird as far as what adds value and what is a separate entity. So some of it can be good, you know, so I don't know enough about it to judge one way or the other.
And coming up, last one is any podcast coming up. I'm working on a couple, but nothing certain yet.
Isn't Brenda doing one?
Yeah, but it's not scheduled yet, so
okay.
We'll see. There's an Ethereum entrepreneur podcast that I think would be interesting to have Brenda on or somebody. But it's not scheduled yet, but we'll see.
Cool. And then we have a bunch in the Zoom.
Yep, let's move to the Zoom.
So that's the top. So I think at the top is after the sneeze. It says, if you dispute a value that's 20 hours later, but the smart contract has executed already, what's the point? So this goes into some of the V2 changes. Like you have infinite time to dispute a value. So we're not the smart contract that executes is reading Tellor. And that actually goes into their comfort level as far as how long they wait for a dispute and how they structure it. Granted, most values should not be disputed 20 hours after the fact. But the reason that we actually removed, so there was a day limit on disputes, and we actually removed that. Not because we think people are going to want to dispute after a day. It's just that we didn't want to put any sort of finality to it. It's just, you know, you do you know, add your own comfort level. So that was kind of the point of removing that, and you can still dispute it. Usually what we would expect projects to do is you wait like 10 minutes or some small amount, and then you can actually read it on chain. So, all right, next question. Okay, so many use cases, blah, blah. Is there any interest in testing Tellor contracts on the EVM, either ported to other networks or even other Eath networks? I think this means, are we planning on deploying on other chains? Yeah, we would love to deploy to other chains. I think the more free time we get, the more other chains we'll play with. In which chains, you know, right now, I would really love to find another chain that is actually decentralized and isn't too hard to go over to. That's like the big piece. Like, how do we want to find a chain that doesn't have some giant red flag. Next one, are there any high quality DeFi projects that haven't selected an Oracle that the community can rally and encourage to go with Tellor? No, I would say. Most of them have really large oracles, or they have their own oracle, or they don't care about oracles. I think, you know, focusing on getting newer projects is definitely the better way to go. You know, thinking that you can get into a weird mindset where you think that the protocols that are out there now are the protocols that are going to be there forever. You know, like whenever Tellor started building these in early 2019, like Uniswap wasn't a thing. Like all of these, you know, the biggest projects that are currently launched in DeFi, most of them weren't launched. And my guess is that in 2021, the biggest protocols have not been launched yet. So, you know, focusing on getting new ones and getting the people who are building the future of DeFi is going to definitely be more important, because these earlier projects, you know, they're good and some of them will certainly stay around, but I think the vast majority and the better ones are still to be built. All right, next one, Mike. You're muted, or I can't hear you at all.
One about the admin key. Will we throw it away after V2 launch? The
Yep.
answer is yes. The exact timing of that, it's not like we're going to launch V2 and then throw away the admin key. It would not be smart. Once we feel comfortable,
Yeah,
it's
probably,
more about usage, right? It's
probably a couple weeks after, I'd say.
yeah.
We'll say 2 weeks. 2 weeks unless there's a bug we need to fix. So you guys can hold us to that. Just yell at us if we don't. Just dump your tokens if we don't. Hold us to it. What are you guys doing for the liquidity and marketing for Tellor? So liquidity, we're not really big into liquidity. Screw liquidity. As far as marketing goes, a lot of it's just education. I mean, Mike, if you want to speak more to what we're actually doing for outreach and kind of trying to talk to specific projects.
Yeah, I mean, our strategy that I've been, pushing for the last 3 months or whatever has been mainly about doing these virtual events, getting engagement at hackathons, and just sort of capitalizing on the sort of whatever you want to call it, bull market that's beginning to happen right now. A lot of stuff is, and then it's actually been quite easy compared to before, where we had to drum up a lot of interest by doing a ton of AMAs. Not that we don't want to do those AMAs at all, but just through our own natural momentum that we've built, a lot of it has just been fielding a lot of new relationships that are coming towards us. So it's much more business development and less on the marketing side. Again, in crypto marketing, you have to separate, are you marketing towards token buyers or are you marketing towards projects? With projects, it's not loud and boisterous. It's like reaching out to somebody and getting a connection and then starting a conversation in a group on Telegram or Discord or email or whatever, and then just taking that offline and managing that over the course of a few weeks or months. The other type of marketing is towards token holders and doing these big campaigns, and it's something we've never really done at all. And so an in-between is when these events come around in DeFi, we can afford to sponsor some of these now, and we could afford to be involved. If COVID wasn't around, we'd be traveling a lot more. And so hopefully in 2021, we'll see a lot more traveling to these events, having more of a presence there. Because when you meet these people, that's where you establish real relationships. That's the real powerful marketing that we focus on. Again, I think our token price has shown and our community growth has shown that we don't need to try to make it so we're the #1 most heard of token out there right now. Like we don't need that type of liquidity or.
Yeah, I mean, we get it every few months. Somebody will text us and say Teller's dead. You guys don't you guys have no ad campaigns and you're not on giant exchanges, so Teller's gonna die for sure. And I remember people sent us that back when we were $2. Just if you're used to the crypto game, you're used to the crypto game.
There's a lot of anxiety in the space, as you guys probably know. Trading these things and price volatility creates a lot of anxiety. It creates a lot of, then that anxiety turns into, well, there must be something wrong. I got to fix something. And then you guys will message me about it. But you guys rely on us to be a nice even keel through all of this. And that's what we really try to do. And I think you guys are starting to believe us. It's been good for us. It's been verifying for us as well. So yeah, we stick to the basics, the tried and true basics.
Any more?
What exchange is the most liquidity for Tellor? I don't know.
I
know that
yeah.
I haven't been paying attention to the Huobi liquidity. I know
they've been doing well.
Yeah.
So Huawei's been awesome. So
yeah. Yeah, we were happy about that. We didn't. I don't know if did we talk about that on a call. Did we have a community call since the Huobi listing?
I don't know.
I don't think we did.
But
So that's another thing to be cheerful about. This is a very, very good exchange for those that like these type of exchanges, and this is not something that we paid for, and we just stayed true to who we were, and it came to us. So
cool. Anyway,
that's all.
Thanks everyone for coming. I'll talk to you guys next week. Talk to you later.
See you then.